Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Bobby's Business Club, the chat show. This chat show has been made for our members and our guests, and what happens is they can come online, they get a recorded interview where we ask them questions about their business and how they help other people. We then record this chat show and create content from it for our members and guests. We then put that content onto things like TikTok, LinkedIn, and Facebook, and more. And the whole point of this chat show is to promote a 1 hour presentation that both of these people are going to be doing on the screen at some point in the future in the next couple of weeks. So you can get a good understanding of who these people are, how they help their clients, and what their presentation is going to be about. We also then record that presentation to also make more content for our members and our guests. As we know, that content is king, and the more we can push that out to more people, the more people who are going to see our brand and see our businesses. But anyway, that's enough about Bobby's Business Club. There's plenty of information on the website, or you can reach out to one of our members if you'd like to learn more. But I'd like to introduce you to two of our guests today. Today we have Annie Bourke from Cosmic Heart Intuitive. How are you, Annie?
I'm great, thanks. Thanks for having me.
And we have Polina Kesov from IA Insurance. How are you, Polina?
I'm great. Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Pleasure to have you, and thanks for coming on today. And so we're going to start with Annie. And so Annie is an international best-selling author and animal communicator, animal medium, and animal medium. Annie Bourke has conversations with animals living and in spirit. Animals are her passion, and her mission is to raise global awareness of the importance of animals. Very true. I missed my dog so much last week. She loves deepening relationships between animals and humans. She provides distance healing support for animals and humans, and hosts her podcast, What Animals Tell Me. Annie, I know we've had a one-to-one and you blew me away. I'm really excited to learn more about what you're going to do in your presentation. So the first question I had for you is, what key messages do animals want their human parents to know?
Great question. Animals want their humans to know that they understand everything that we say. And a lot of animal parents don't know that. And I've had a lot of people tell me, oh, yes, they might understand no and walk. And they think that's the extent of it. But actually, they have a very sophisticated understanding of English. So they do know everything that you're saying. Because they have free will, they choose if they want to obey what you ask them to do. So if you say, don't jump on the table, they will think about whether they want to jump on the table or not, but they certainly hear what you say. And they love us having a conversation with them. They love knowing what's going on in our world. So the more we can talk to them, the better. And it actually changes the relationship between you. I've had people I've spoken with who haven't had a consultation with me, and I've just said, go home and talk to your animal, as knowing that they're understanding what you're saying. And they've contacted me back and just said, wow, that's just totally changed the relationship. So that's one of the key messages. They do understand what we say, and they love us talking to them. They're also very sensitive to vibrational changes. And so when we're healthy, we vibrate at a certain energetic frequency, and so do they. But when we get sick, our frequency level drops. And because animals are so sensitive to that, they often know before we're consciously aware that we're not well. And so they'll instinctively hang around more. They'll be more attentive, more affectionate. They might spend time lying on us or near us because they want to help us heal as soon as possible, because we're very important to them and they want us to get better as soon as possible. They're also very sensitive to the frequency of words. So every word we use has a frequency. So if we're talking about something negative in their presence, or if we're saying something negative to them or about them, they can get affected by hearing that frequency. So particularly when you select a name for your animal or a nickname for your animal, it's very important to understand that they do understand the meaning of those words. And I have had conversations with a number of animals who do not like their names at all, and they've already selected names that they would prefer to be called. And as soon as their humans start calling them by their new name, they respond. So all of those things are very important to take into account. And then the third thing our animals would like their humans to know is that they're not with us by coincidence. A lot of people think that they're rescuing animals, but in a lot of cases, the animals are actually rescuing us. And having an animal in our lives really helps us. It helps us to evolve our hearts. It helps us to evolve our souls. And some of the interesting things animals have been teaching me is that when they come into earth, they're a soul in an animal form. We're a soul in a human form. All of us have a life purpose. All of us have life lessons to learn. So some of our animals have actually come to us for us to help them with their lessons, and some of them have come to us to help us with our lessons. So absolutely fascinating what they want us to know, because it just changes our relationship with them. We can bond with them on a much deeper level and value each other a lot more when we know more about each other and why we're together.
Certainly after our one-to-one, I definitely changed the way I looked at my dog and all the dogs, and it's especially also having a week away from them and having, it's so interesting when you say about how they can have that sense and that vibration, because when there were other people on holiday they weren't on holiday, they had their dogs, but their dogs would go crazy when we walked past them, but in a positive way, because they knew that we were kind of dog people and we were missing our dogs, and they'd come over to us, and it was so satisfying to know that it's not just that they're not just there, but they understand so much is going on. So how does an animal communication session help an animal parent?
I think there's lots of different levels that a conversation can help. I get a lot of questions about changes in behaviour. And because our animals can only communicate with us through vocalising or body language or changes in behaviour till we learn how to speak with them telepathically, which is what I do, often behaviour changes are them trying to let us know something is not right. And it will be something obvious, and the human knows that this is bizarre and what's going on, and they want to find out what's going on. So I'm not a vet and I'm not an animal behaviourist, but because I'm an animal communicator, I can actually ask why they're doing what they're doing. And often they change their toileting behaviour because that's something that the human obviously picks up on. And every animal I've spoken to that about have not been doing it to be deliberately naughty. There's been a genuine reason why they've changed their behaviour, because something is not right. And it's a way of getting the message through. People also want to find out about health issues, particularly when they can't get a diagnosis about what's going on with their animal. And again, some of the conversations I've had with our animals, they actually take our health symptoms on for us sometimes, so that we're not having to bear the full brunt of the condition. So sometimes our animals need healing support as well as us. And that's really interesting to find out as well. So they will take on symptoms energetically. So you can run all sorts of tests on them and you won't find anything wrong. But when they say what they're doing, then it all makes sense. So I spoke with a dog recently, and her mum knew there was something wrong because of the way she was walking. She was actually experiencing 9 out of 10 intensity pain in her hip, and she let me feel some of that. She had nothing wrong with her hips, and her mum has chronic pain. And so she was taking that on for her mum. So it was just fascinating finding that out. Lots of other things people want to know. What can I do to make my animal happier? Would my animal be happy if we get another animal in the family? What does the animal think of my partner? How would the animal feel if we move home? Do they want a different diet? Is there something in the diet that's upsetting them? Do they want different toys? All sorts of different things, just sort of enriching their world, but really finding out what's happening in our animals' world. And interestingly, our animals love having a conversation. They love that their parents have cared enough to find out and ask questions. And again, that changes their behaviour after, and they will be a lot more affectionate. One mum I spoke to really wanted her cat to be a lap cat, and he was a fairly independent cat. After we'd had the conversation, the next day she said he came and snuggled up in my arms last night, and he's now turned into a lap cat, and he just hugs her all the time. So affectionate. So sometimes they're here to learn how to receive and give affection and love. And so we can support them by saying, you know, I'd love it if you can come and sit on me or sit near me, and just gradually get them used to being able to be near us and accepting that love. So lots of conversations, and also finding out why they're with us. Some people are very intuitive and recognise something about their animal. So sometimes they'll ask, has this animal got my childhood pet's soul in it? And so then I can delve in and find out, have there been past life connections? And I'm just finding that more frequently now, that we actually know a lot of our animals, and they don't all come back, they don't all reincarnate, but a lot of them do. And it's just phenomenal to have a second lifetime with them.
That's a great segue into the next question, is what have been some of the most profound conversations you've had with animals?
Look, I've just learnt now to learn the unexpected, or expect the unexpected with a conversation, because I never know what they're going to tell me. And some of them are real comedians. They just make me laugh with what they say. So I had to speak with a cat who loves splashing his water out of his water bowl, and a lot of them do. And he explained why. And then I said, oh, do you want to tell Mum anything else? And he said, does she want an existential expose on the physics of displacing a volume of water? And I just listened to that and thought, wow, okay, he obviously totally understands the questions. He understands the scientific principles of displacing the volume of water with his paw. And I felt he was just showing me how intelligent he was to interpret the question and to voice the answer like that. And then I did wonder whether he'd been a science teacher in a previous life with how he answered the question. So that was just totally unexpected. I just laughed when he told me that. Some of the other conversations I've had, particularly with animals in spirit, they tend to be really profound, because for most animals in spirit that I connect with, I'm the first human that's ever had a telepathic conversation with them. So it's their first opportunity to actually pass on their messages to their humans. So it actually really is powerful for their grief process to be able to say their thank yous and love and pass on gratitude to their humans, as well as answering their humans' questions. And I've worked out now through experience that with me, when I have a conversation with an animal in spirit, they actually give me a code word, which I think is totally clever. It means absolutely nothing to me, but it means something significant to the parent. And then they know beyond a doubt that I'm definitely speaking with their animal. And so the most profound episode I had with that was with a blind cat in spirit. So all I have is a photo of this cat, because I connect with the animals through photos. So I've got the photo of the cat. I've never met Mum. And we're having a conversation about how he passed away, and he's answering his mum's questions. And then he said, Rumpelteazer. And I thought, what is Rumpelteazer? I've never heard that word before. And I'm thinking, did I mishear it? Is he trying to say Rumpelstiltskin? And then I thought, that doesn't make sense, because that's not in the context of the story. So I thought, I must be hearing things. So I continued our conversation, and then he said it again very clearly. And I thought, okay, this is a message. I'm going to have to pass this on to Mum. So I typed a message to his mum, and I said, oh, was he ever called Rumpelteazer? And there was silence for a while, and I thought, oh, she's going to think I'm crazy. And then she typed back, oh, yes, I'd forgotten all about that. And when she rescued him, he was living with a dog called Rumpel, and he used to get in trouble for teasing the dog. So he got called Rumpelteazer. He couldn't even see the dog because he was blind, so he wasn't teasing the dog. But that was such a clever word to use, because how did I get that word in my head apart from him telling me? So his mum knew I was definitely talking with him. And that's been a powerful learning for me now, to know that I'm going to get these code words, and it's not up to me to try and interpret them or explain them or dismiss them and think I haven't heard it properly. I just pass the message on, and then that just really assures the human that their animal soul is still contactable and alive, and that they can continue their relationship.
I think what you do is amazing. It's especially if you're a big pet owner like I am, to give that closure, not so much within death, but even just in life of, are you okay? Are you happy? All those questions that we have as parents, even if it's a human baby. And then, but to give that closure, I think is very important. It allows us to move forward in life and not be so dragged down by what we think the animal is thinking, and we can get a better understanding of what's going through their mind. So can you tell us more about your event that's coming up, Understanding Your Animals, and what guests can expect?
Yes. So I just want to go into more depth about our relationships with animals, because I think there's so much more that we can grow from when we understand why our animals are with us. And as I said, it just totally changes the relationship. So I actually call myself an animal-human relationship enricher, because I just think there is so much more we can do to make that bond even stronger. And I have found a lot of people have felt a really strong connection to their animals, and that's why dealing with grief is so difficult, because that bond was just so inexplicably strong. And so again, with my conversations, I've found out that we've had past life connections with these animals. So whether it's an animal we've had in this lifetime whose soul has reincarnated to come back with us, or whether it's an animal that we've had in a previous lifetime that we've had lifetimes with before. And I knew nothing about this until one of my cats let me experience reincarnation. And so I've been able to write about that in my book and now help a lot of people. And that's a really powerful way to help with the grief process, because although the physical presence of the animal you love is no longer with you, knowing that they can reincarnate, and they know if they're going to, and they can tell me what breed they're going to be, what colour they're going to be, what gender they're going to be, and then the human can go and find them. And then there's this huge sense of excitement and anticipation of having your animal back. What are you going to recognise on a heart level and a soul level? What's it going to feel like holding them again for the first time? And you've got this whole second lifetime to have another relationship with them. So that's why I really like having these conversations with animal and spirit. Yes, it can help with the grief process, but to me, they're showing proof that there's life after life. Like once they pass over, yes, the physical body's gone, but the soul endures. They're always contactable. I've had a conversation with a dog who passed over more than 20 years ago. So there's no time limit on contacting our animals. And then if they come back, then that's even more exciting. So I want to delve into more about what we can learn about our animals and how we can help support them while they're with us, finding out about the soul relationships and finding out about what happens when they pass over. So I'll be covering all of those different topics.
You mentioned your book, and
yes.
I'm assuming you're talking about the bridge to animal consciousness. Do you want to tell us a bit more of that before we go on to
Excuse me.
That's okay.
Yes. So I've actually written 2 books, and that was my first book, and that was really part of my soul purpose and mission in raising global consciousness and awareness about the importance of animals. So I want people to understand that animals have souls, and unfortunately this hasn't been legislated in a lot of countries yet. They're not recognised as being sentient beings, but they have souls. They feel emotions like we do. They are with us for a reason, and they do change our lives. They affect our hearts, they affect our souls. And I tell people, you know, they enrich our lives. And even though it hurts so much when they do pass, we can be grateful for all the love and joy and laughter they've brought while they've been with us. So it's not a book about how to be an animal communicator, but I have included some of the benefits of animal communication. I've put in there some advice on what to do when you're welcoming a new animal into your household, particularly if you've got existing animals, what happens when animals pass away, their life journey, soul purpose, and then issues for animals in zoos and animals in the wild. And then I have some ideas on what we can do to help animals so that we can continue conservation efforts that are happening. So it's a whole mixture of different topics, but all related around my conversations and experiences with animals.
We're looking forward to it. I'm a big animal lover, and anything that can help me help them and vice versa. And we're looking forward to the event. So you can join Annie at our Understanding Your Animals event on the 20th of October, 11:30. All the details are in the description. And obviously, if you want to reach out to Annie, you can do so via the details in the description, or you can reach out to myself, and I'm happy to do an introduction for you. But Annie, thanks so much for jumping on. I'm just going to move on to our next guest today. She's no stranger to me. We've been networking for a long time together. She's a great friend of mine. But welcome to the show, Polina. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Bobby.
So Polina is a director of a dedicated team of professionals that specialize in delivering unique, customized, and innovative insurance solutions for you and your business. We use Polina for everything, all of our insurances. It is a beautiful process. I would highly recommend jumping on a one-to-one to learn out more. But IIA was established by industry specialists in early 2006, seems so long ago, 2006. They've enjoyed a steady growth and are recognised as the leading and progressive firm by our corporate partners and clients. So first question for you, Polina, is insurance an absolute must for every business?
I think so. Definitely the answer would be yes. And it's because if it's worth protecting, it's worth insuring. So, we all protect our businesses, our homes, our cars, from things that can go wrong. And we can do that by getting insurance policies in place that would protect us to a certain degree. But of course, there's policies and procedures that we need to put in place in our businesses to make sure that if something happens, an insurance policy needs to be called upon, that the insurer will know that you're actually doing the right thing in your business. And it was just something outside of your control, possibly. And that's, that they can help you to mitigate those losses that can occur. So the answer is an absolute must, although it's not something that people really want to get until something goes wrong or they hear of somebody having a certain circumstance that if they had an insurance policy could have saved them a lot of trouble, a lot of money, a lot of reputational risks. So, and it doesn't matter what industry you're in. You could be a sole operator or you could be a listed corporation. The same principle applies. If you care about what you do, insure it.
It's that old thing in your head, what if something happens? What if there's a flood? What if my tap explodes and the house is flooded and my laptop? You just never know. It's having
you can never be prepared. Like at the moment, there's lots of weather events happening in Australia. We can't stop that. We can't do anything about it. But if something goes wrong and the premises that we run our businesses from get affected, and if you don't have an insurance policy, that's tens of thousands of dollars and business interruption because of it, just as simple as this. Or you could give somebody a wrong advice, and it may not be wrong. You may honestly believe that you're absolutely correct, but they allege that it's wrong. And for you to defend yourself and fight for your rights can cost you tens of thousands of dollars that you may not have in your business, just laying around ready to be paid out to somebody who decides to sue you. So, different things. It's just, in my opinion, insurance is a peace of mind.
It is. And is it more expensive to use an insurance broker services like yourself?
No, I don't believe it is because insurance brokers have great relationships with insurers and underwriting agencies. Therefore, a lot of times we get preferential rates that we're happy to pass on to our clients. Also, we give advice to clients. So it's worth a lot more than the money, in my opinion, to make sure that your businesses are properly protected. And a lot of times, the policies that brokers provide are much broader than the ones that you can get directly from the insurer. And most importantly, something that people misunderstand, we side with the client. We never side with the insurer. For us, we would rather get you the cheapest price and the best cover than put you through a particular insurance company, because we don't get overrides. We don't get specific benefits from any insurer. So we only care about our clients. And if you go directly to the insurer, every time you ring them, you talk to somebody else. So you don't build a relationship. Maybe you can't trust them, and possibly you wouldn't be able to trust them. And the other thing is, insurers don't have to advise you on the policies that they sell you. They're just reading a fine print of a policy wording. How you interpret it is up to you. Brokers explain and interpret it in a simple language suitable for you and your business that you can understand and apply it to your everyday situation. So the answer is, it's a lot of times, I believe it's cheaper to use an insurance broker than buy a policy that's never going to pay out. You might as well donate that money to charity.
I 100% agree. And after using your service, several times over the last couple of years for everything from business to vehicles to home insurance, I hate forms. I hate researching something that I don't understand. There's so many things out there, and to be able to go to somebody and go, "Hey, I want to insure this," give you some information, you ask some questions, and you come back with the policy and the price. And I go, cool, that's great, thanks, that'll do.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
That's
Easy
right.
as that, so no stress. Is it true that insurers do not pay for claims?
Insurers always pay claims within the policy conditions of the policy you've purchased. In saying that, we have had circumstances where an insurer could decline a claim, and the first response comes to us as a broker acting on behalf of the client. It's up to us to check on that decline and the reasoning behind it. And more often or not, we actually go back to the insurer, and the client doesn't even know this is happening. They're just waiting for an answer. We go to the insurer and say, we think you're incorrect, because if you look at this section of the policy, it's a bit gray, and you just went with straight out answer. What are you relying on? And a lot of times they review it again and they go, oh, actually, yeah, come to think of it, we can pay out maybe a partial claim or the whole claim. Or don't forget, they're just humans as well. They can make a mistake. So as a broker, we go back to them and work with them to make sure if it's covered, that it gets paid. If it's simply not covered, and there are circumstances when it's just simply not covered under the insurance policy, it could be a dispute between two businesses, and that's just a commercial dispute. We would go back to the client, explain the reasons it's not covered and why the insurer is not paying, but also perhaps give them guidance, maybe see a lawyer that specializes in this area, maybe put different terms and conditions for going forward. But it's never the case that if a policy is purchased, an insurer simply says, no, we're not going to pay. This is just something out there in the world as a general thought that insurers just want to take the money, not pay the claim, and they look for ways not to pay claims. It's not possible because the regulation and the regulator are very hard on insurers these days. And more often than not, I read in articles in publications for the insurance industry, even when it's not covered, a lot of times the ombudsman even force insurers to pay it anyway. So, they find ways of why they should pay it. So the system is very client savvy, not insurance savvy. So they pay when they have to pay.
This is why in business we should always go to experts in the industry and speak to those guys. We've got Polina's in insurance. I have a couple of businesses, recruitment. We've got Annie who deals with animals, and to go to someone who specializes in it means that you're going to get a better response and a better understanding rather than trying to research it yourself and trying to understand a whole new industry. So it's really important to reach out to people like you see on the screen. So can you tell us more about your event? When it comes to insurance, fear is temporary, regret is forever, and what guests can expect?
Yes, I think I always look at insurance for any business owner or an individual, doesn't have to be a business owner, as this big puzzle that they possibly cannot solve. And a lot of times they start solving it and then they give up. And they go, you know what, it's too hard, I'm just going to be uninsured. Or there's such a, saying, people say, I'm going to self-insure, but then they forget that that requires tens of thousands of dollars, if not more, to be put aside every week in case something goes wrong and they're going to have to pay for it. So I reckon solve that puzzle by getting somebody who is in that field and understands it a bit more and has the experience behind them and has the knowledge, and also a lot of insurance companies and insurers that they work with, they can reach to them for more knowledge if required. Get the insurance solved so you never have to regret it, because usually when there's a regret, it comes with a huge bill.
Always.
And a reputational problem for your business, and sometimes a loss of business completely. And don't forget, we always forget as business owners that it's not only us that the business needs. It's our families that rely on that, our staff, our suppliers, our clients. It's a lot of people that rely on us if something was to go wrong, over us spending maybe a couple of hundred or a couple of $1,000s, depending on what you need, over 12 months to have that peace of mind. and never have that regret.
And you mentioned family there, and I know you have two amazing boys, and are they primed and ready to take over the mantle when you're ready to move on?
Definitely not.
Not insurance people.
Not insurance people. It was always my wish, but definitely not going to come to reality. They admire what I do. I think what I do is important, but they don't want to follow in my footsteps. But it's okay. They're good at what they do in their own fields.
And I know that you just got a new website. I had a look at that this morning, and it looks beautiful. And I know the people who did it for you, and they're amazing what they do. But guys, I'd highly suggest go and have a look at it. And it's a great platform. And how was that process for you going through designing a new website?
It was pretty exciting. It took me a very long time to find somebody that I could really explain my vision and that they got it from the first time. But then you said that they did some work for you, and I thought, oh, well, if Bobby used them, must be good. So I believe in that, recommendations is important in business. And it was amazing. Like, seriously, it's like they got into my head, unpacked whatever I was thinking, and they just created it in digital way. There was not even a revision needed, which is, very unusual when it comes to design. So I highly recommend them. I think they're an awesome company. Everyone that works there has become my team. So anything that I think of that requires digital presence, I just think of them. I don't even worry about anything. And I love the fact that I can have a partnership with them ongoingly. So it's not just they've done my website, they waved goodbye, took my fees, and thanked me for it. I have a plan where I pay every month, and they give me a report. And I've never seen anything like that in nearly 17 years of business, where they pinpoint, this works on your website, that needs adjusting, this is what we suggest. I think it's amazing. I don't even have to think about that. Every month they're doing that work for me. And by the way, it's not costing me a great deal of money, if at all. And they're just there for me. So recommending things and making sure that it keeps evolving. And I've had websites before for my business. This is probably my third website in 17 years, so not that many. But since this website went live, every day I get inquiries from clients, and I'm not even advertising. So obviously the SEO, as little as we've done so far, is already working. And the algorithm that they've written the website in and the design obviously is good for Google. So because these people, I don't even know where they're coming from.
Great problem to have, isn't it?
I know. So that's, yeah. So thank you for the recommendation, and highly recommend them as well.
Okay. And just for anyone who's watching now and you're looking for a website to be designed and you wonder who that is, that's a company called Spiral Orb Designs. Again, if you need an introduction, either myself can do that for you, or Polina can do that for you as well. But before we finish, Polina, I know you have another business. Do you want to give that a bit of a plug while you're here?
Yeah, I really appreciate that. So 4 months ago, I had this grand idea to start a networking directory, because I network so much, and that's how I've met my wonderful friend Bobby as well, and many other wonderful people. But I thought we should have a safe space where vetted professionals come there and can review each other's work and can rate each other and can recommend services to each other and send clients to each other. We're not replicating LinkedIn by any means. It's more about people that we know and that somebody else we know knows of. So great professionals. It's called Networking Group Directory. It's growing really fast. So in 4 months, we've got nearly 119 members as of this morning. New members are being added on every day. We collaborate with Bobby's Business Club, and that's been an amazing collaboration. I'm a huge believer in doing things together and helping each other in business. Doesn't have to be a monetary, money exchange. Like, that's not important. What's important is how we help each other. So if anyone's interested, jump on. You meet some great people there. And the most exciting thing for me, I've already had a handful of people saying to me, I've met a person on your directory, connected with them. We're now doing business together. Never would have met because we're in different states. And I think, to me, that's music to my ears. Directory is completely free. It's my way of paying forward for the great things that people have done for me in business for the last 17 years.
It's a great platform, and if you're interested in learning more about it, there'll be more details in the description of this video. And of course, again, you can reach out to Polina or myself if you're interested in learning more. But thank you so much to Polina and Annie for coming on the chat show today. It's all about networking. It's all about connecting people, and what we're doing right now, even though we are creating content for both businesses, we are still networking as we are talking about our businesses. So Annie can hear what Polina's up to, and Polina can hear what Annie's doing. You're both from different networks, you know, you probably never met each other, and that's what we try to do, is try and connect you with people you wouldn't normally meet at certain events, so you can then go away and hopefully make another connection out of that in a one-to-one further down the line. You can join Polina at our When It Comes to Insurance, Fear is Temporary, Regret is Forever event on the 19th of October at 11:30 a.m. Like I said before, all the details for registration are in the chat. And if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me. But thank you to Annie and thank you to Polina for coming on today. Really do appreciate your time, your support, and what you do for your clients is always second to none. And I appreciate all your help you give to them. But that's it for today's show. I'd say goodbye to you now, and I'll see you all soon. Bye.